Hi, welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Subtracks, and on top of that we're going to be taking a look at the Supertrack as well. And the purpose is, well, to begin with I'll go through very simply how the Subtracks work, how you can set them up, then we'll look at things you can do with the Subtracks and a workaround if you're really pushed for the number of tracks you want to use on Tonverk, a workaround for the effects send issue. I'm not going to call it a problem, the issue, or how the Subtracks are set up. At the moment you can't send individual Subtracks to different levels of effects. You can only send all of the Subtracks to whatever effect settings you'll send, but we'll get on to that. So I've got a little workaround for that helps with things like reverb on the kick and delay, etc. We'll look at that, and then we'll look at the Subtracks Supertrack. Now, I made a mistake with this, the Supertrack, and if you're making the same mistake, then this video might help you. There is a way that very powerful, the Supertrack, but you just have to have a different approach than what you might imagine. Now, I'm leaving a little bit of tease there, but we'll get to that later in the video. Okay, let's have a look then how the Subtracks work on a fundamental level, and then we'll get on to the more advanced stuff. Let's have a look at the Subtracks on sort of basic level, fundamental level. What are they? Well, I have two Subtracks here I was using for the intro. We'll mute those at the moment, just going to the mute, and I'll mute those, and we'll go to track 3 and start from the beginning. To load a Subtrack is function and source, and go down to a Subtrack, yes. We can create a new one which is empty, or we can load one of these presets. I'll go for, press the yes, I'll go for a completely empty Subtrack. And then it asks us to assign a sample, which we do with function. And then if you see, we have these 8 effective channels or tracks within the Subtracks, 8 Subtracks if you like. And maybe I'll just show you that first. We can mute here. You saw I muted 1 and 2 on the main tracks. 3 is my active track. I can turn on and off these 8 tracks using mutes. I can also, if I look here, see which Subtrack I'm on. I'm on track 3, Subtrack 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's indicated here. So I can do all these things. So I'll stick with number 1 here, and it's asking me to assign a sample. So I'll go function and 1, and then we'll just try and find quick. We can function yes to preview. That'll do. Sort of generic kick, and we'll come out of here with source, sorry, and then we'll go to the second one, and we'll do the same thing again. Function the second Subtrack, and we'll put a snare on here. Yes. See if we can find one. That'll do. Source again. There's the snare. And on the third one, function third track, we will try and make a hi-hat. So we'll go down. We won't use the hi-hats here. We'll go down and get a percussion and try and find a sound. That'll do. Okay, so we have these 3 tones now. Sticking with a kick. How do we lay down a sequence? Very simple. You can either live record or go in here to the grid recording mode. We can now put down our sequence. We could go to our snare. Same thing. We can put hi-hat. Well, now you might say that's not much of a hi-hat, is it? So we'll stop that. So you saw we can put the sequences down very easily. We can also edit. If we come out of this now, we can edit this sound. We say, well, don't really like that sound. Let's try and change the start position and the length. Make it a bit like a more hi-hat. You can also tune. Oh, what have we done there? Go back here, sorry. Oh, it's because I pressed the function. Okay, so I was trying to hold this and do the tuning. Okay, so we can tune in blocks, or we can just tune by semitones here. Now, note you can see the tune here. When we come into the parameter locks in a second, it disappears for some reason. I think it's a bug, but okay, let's just set this back to 0. You have to be careful there, because if you're used to using the function key and holding this and that, then you will actually start to go into the load new sample menu, which I did. Okay, but anyway, we have this. Now, that's working fine. You might say, ooh, it's all quite static, isn't it? Well, then we can go to our amp here. I could take the volume, and I'm live recording now. Just record some volume changes over the hi-hat. Then I might say, well, I don't like having the same tone all the time, so what can I do about that? Well, we can go into our source, as I showed you. I can hold these ones here and just tune them down a little bit. Maybe these ones here. Tune these up. And just really play around with length as well. I could do here, I can do all these parameter locks. I can put some overdrive on some of them. Let's go here. So you get the idea. I can change each individual sound by holding it and adding whatever I want from these menus. Maybe I can filter this one down a bit. Maybe I'll choose a couple more and filter them down a bit. And then they'll all have, this one will have a different filter to this one. So I can bring life into my sequence by using these parameter locks, individually setting each one of these TRIGs to have its own sound. I can do the same thing with the kick. If I wanted to have here, I'll try and hold this, perhaps a different tuning. So you no longer have the tuning here, which is a bit strange. Okay. Maybe I want some overdrive on this one. However you want to set it up. You have all the possibilities to set these things up how you want. Now, that is pretty much what is possible with the Subtracks. You can set up your individual sequences, put in whichever samples you want. The next thing you might want to do is to add effects. Let's have a look at effects. If I go to the effects here, put some reverb on. Well, I'm putting reverb on everything. This is the state of play at the moment with Subtracks, that all of the effects all of these 8 tracks are common to the effects. That means they all go through the effects. You can't say, well, I don't want the kick to have reverb, I just want to have perhaps the toms, or I just want my hi-hat to have delay. It doesn't work at the moment like that. Now, there is a little bit of a workaround, and I'll show you that now. It's a little bit more complicated. It is a workaround, and it's really just if you're running out of tracks, if you're used all your 8 tracks on Tonverk and you really want to have your kick and drums all on one Subtrack because you're using the the other tracks for other things, then this might help you. And the way it works is this. We're on track 3 at the moment, and you can see it's on mix AB. As I explained before, on track 3, all of these effects, the 2 slots and these sends, will affect everything that's played here. What we can do is we can go into our function mute, and at the moment where track 3 is going to mix AB, we could change this, and I will put it on bus 2. Now that sends everything from these subtracks into bus 2. Now bus 2, if we come out of here, no, bus 2 is here, number 10. When it's the light, we can see it. And then if I press play, I can now send it to the reverb and things. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to use the 2 effect slots here. And the first one we're going to put, so this is function FX, we're going to put here a daisy delay. And then on the second slot, we're going to go and put, and the reason I put them on the bus and not on the track effects, we'll come to that, I'll show you that very quickly, is that here on the bus we have access to the reverbs. So we'll load the super void reverb here, and I'll just very quickly jump back to here. This is the track 3. If I look at the FX possibilities, so function FX, and look down, I have no reverbs. So on the individual Subtrack effects level, we have no reverb. So that's why we have to use a bus. So we'll come out of there and we'll go back to 10. The bus allows us to have these reverbs. Now, you say, well, how's that going to help? Well, we have to remember that we do have, and we will, let's start with the, we'll turn off, yeah, that's turned off. We'll turn off the reverb. And we have a delay here. So we're going to drop this down to about 20. And I say this is a workaround, but it might give you, might help you. We're going to turn the feedback down to 0. We're still hearing on our drum, but one thing we have here is a filter, and we can filter the frequency of the delay. You might hear a little bit of a pop. I say it's a bit of a compromise, but otherwise, and we can find a compromise here with this filter. Maybe a bit more. We can play with this filter until we say, well, I can live with that. Okay, so I'll turn the feedback down to 0. And now, these higher level tones are unaffected by this. It's a bit tricky with the snare, a bit of a compromise with the snare, but things like hi-hats, we can get the delay working on the hi-hats. So you can play with this until you think it's acceptable. Oh, sorry. But we've got the delay on the hi-hats now. Now, let's go back to 10. So we have the delay on the hi-hats. We could increase the width. You can hear the hi-hats are moving around. And say, the filter, play around until you can live with it. We can skew. Kick drums coming through relatively clean. Next one is the reverb. Now I'm going to drop the decay on the reverb a little bit here, and we'll mix it in a bit. And it's effectively the same deal. We have a filter here. That gets it away from the kick. And if we wanted to get away from the hi-hat, let's try this. Kick is relatively unaffected by all of this. The hi-hat's not really affected by the reverb. Or we can back this off a bit. Sorry, it's the wrong one. Bring the snare drum in. It's just an idea. It's a kind of a workaround. If you really pushed with your 8 tracks here, and you need to get all your drums in one place. Okay, then the next thing we can look at is the, well, really the dark arts, the Supertrack. And I realized that my approach to the Supertrack, I said to myself, what the hell is this Supertrack thing? And I'll show you the Supertrack now. You can access the Supertrack. We're on track 3 here. Let's go back to 3. Let's just go to our trig. So track 3. You access it by holding track and pressing the track you're on. We then get these 3 dots here. And now we're in the Supertrack mode. And I said, well, what's the point of this? Because effectively you have then a sequencer. And if I can do 2 things. I can put a trig down, but I tend to work like this. I put function, I put a trigless trig here. And then if I hold this and go to, let's say we go to the FX here. I'm not using the reverb we just set up on the bus. I'm just going to use the reverb that's set up on the sends here. And I send this now to the reverb. Turn off the trig, no reverb. Put it back on again, set it to reverb. Because then it's wanted delay. Oh, sorry. Let's set that to delay and chorus maybe, and reverb. All right, a noise. So, what's the point of all this? I said to myself, if it's affecting all of these 8, well, the thing with Supertracks, I feel personally, is they're better suited to more tonal or textures or atmospheres, things in the background, not drums. What do I mean by that? Well, let's have a quick look. If we go to create a new track, let's go to track 4 now, and again we will load into track 4 a new subtrack. So we have a subtrack here. We create a new one. And then let's see if we can find, let's go function and then the trig here. We'll look at and see if we can find something more. Hold on, I've gone too far. Let's have a look. Do we have, I think there is some in here. Multi-samples, single samples, yes. Textures, let's see what we can find in here. We'll take that and we'll go back. Now we have this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set here a trig. Actually, what we'll do first, we won't do that. We'll go to a function page and we're going to change the length of track 4 to 32. So we'll have 2 bars going round. So now we have a 2-bar loop. And we will loop this here using the F forward. So we can keep this going. Okay, so that's done, and we will now put the trig down, and then we're going to set this trig to a length, so I'll hold the trig in the function, and a length of 32. So that will now, let's mute our drums for a second. Okay, so we've got this thing going round. what do we do now? Well, this is where it gets quite interesting actually, because we can go into come out of here. We can go into track 4 effects. Let's go in here, and we're going to put function FX, and we're going to put a chrono pitch here. Now we have this on our track 4. It's affecting nothing at the moment. But if I now enter the Supertrack mode, and this is what I meant by the use case, my use case was wrong, just concentrating on drums. If I go now track and then 4 into the Supertrack mode, then I can put down here function and a trig. Let's just put some, let's do something like this, maybe this one, and we'll go to the second page and put one here. So we have these 2 pages of trigs. Now what we can do is we can parameter lock things to this. So I can hold this, and I'm going to hold this trig and hold the function. I'm going to set the length here to 1/2 bar. I will set this one here, it's a bit ambidextrous here. I'm going to set this one to let's set it to 1/4. I'm going to put this one here, I'm going to hold, and I'm going to change the probability to something like 20%. Just give an example here what's going on, maybe 20%. And I'm going to try and hold this and the function, and I'm going to change the length here to 32. So this one will play. Okay, so we've got these 3 set up. We'll go and do this one here. This one I will set the length as well to a 1/2. We'll set that to, no, let's set it to a 1/2. And we'll go back again, and this one here, which I've set to 32, I'm going to drop the velocity down here so that it's not so prominent, because it's going to play through the whole thing. Okay, so nothing going on at the moment. No effect. These are having no effect on anything. But if I now go into my effects, let's take this first one, and I'll hold the function here, and I'm going to tune this down an octave. If I can get it there, that's it. This one, I'll tune 7 semitones. This one I'll leave as it is. This one I will drop down, oh no, go, yeah, -5. Something like that. And I'll put some feedback on this one, open the window a bit, increase the dry wet. We'll go back to these ones. Same thing on this. I'll open the window a little bit more feedback, set some of the, I'll just play around randomly, see what we get. And then we press play. Now, let's take this one here, let's change that a bit. You can hopefully start to hear what's going on. This one here, maybe I'll have the filter, oh, sorry, I can't use the filters on this. I can put reverb on this one. Bit of chorus. A little bit less reverb on this one perhaps. Oh dear, what have I done? Sorry. And I could put a second effect in here. Let's see what else we can go to. So let's go and put here. And what could we put? Maybe we could put a degrader. So this one here I can change overdrive. Hopefully you get the idea. You can start to build up these textures that's come out of here now. We're only using on track 4. We're only using this one subtrack. Let's do a second one. So this is the power of the subtracks. We'll load here onto our second subtrack on track 4. Let's find something else. Let's go with the kids here. Source. Now we have the same thing. We'll set it up the same way. Set this to forward. We'll just tune it a little bit. Okay, so, and then we can go in here and put a trig down, and we will then hold this again, go to our trig, hold that, and set this one to 32 as well, so that it plays. So now we have this second tone playing on top, and do exactly the same thing. We can go into our subtrack, track 4, and we're on, it shows us which subtrack we're adjusting at the moment here. I want to adjust this one. So let's mute perhaps this one. We just have this. If we play, and go into our subtrack here on 4, to go into the record as well, you can see that it's sharing the trigs that we set up. So they are common to all of these 8 subtracks, but you can get, if you go back to the mute, you can start to develop these atmospheres or use the subtracks in a very different way than what you would use drums for, simply by putting down these trigless trigs, as I say here. Let's put one here, and setting up how you feel you want it to sound with the effects. So we've got the chrono pitch here. What else do I have? I could set this one up. So I say more overdrive. I can have a greater bitrate reduction. I can freeze it maybe. Let's try. Now it's only playing a very short time. I can set the length here. Oh, sorry. If I hold it and set the probability, it won't play all the time. We'll set that probability there. That'll come round at some point, it'll play. Put another one here. Add a different effect. Let's tune this. 12. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Perhaps not the most musical thing, but it's the concept I wanted to get across. Well, I'm just hopping in from the future because I realised I forgot to mention the difference between the yellow, the trigless trigs if you like, and the red trigs. And I've got a simple example set up here where I have here, I'll take this off, I just have a drum beat. I'm on the, go to the Supertrack now, so I'm on track 3, go to the Supertrack, in the Supertrack, and if I put on the Supertrack here a trig, and then parameter lock this to add, let's say, daisy chain delay. You can hear that? Now, when I put a red trig down, that just resets the parameters. I can reset this to the default level, which is basically, if I hold this again, it eliminates this trig here. So I could put another one after it. Put this here right next to it. Put it over here. Here. Okay, let's jump back to the video. I just want to explain that these act to reset basically these trigless trigs. Okay, hope this video has been useful as always, and that you can make more use of your Tonverk. I'm learning more and more about it. Really nice instrument, very happy with it. Take care and hopefully see you in the next video. Thank you.